Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekend analysis. This is going to be an interesting week today, or rather, just an interesting week all in all, due to what's happening in the Middle East region. I'm sure you all know, and we also have a heavily packed week in terms of news. So let's get right into it, starting with dollar index. I hope you can all hear me all right. Last week we had to redo the video, the first part of it. There was no audio. Was it last week? Yeah, either ways. I think it was a Wednesday. I'm sure it was a Wednesday, yes. But I'm sure you can all hear me. So let's get right into it, starting with the dollar index. So the dollar index has been steadily moving up. On Friday, we had a dip down, lack of strength, but I do think today we might be having a gap. We might be either coming all the way up here or even here. Anything is possible at this point in time. So we need to be really careful of how we trade this week, especially as the market opens this Monday. Crypto is down. Already I'm rushing myself on this, but we'll come back into that. But either ways, I do think next week we will be seeing ourselves above this area, above 9940. Then probably even by the end of the week or possibly end of the month. In short, we might be at the 100 level at this second resistance on dollar index. That being, let's look at dollar Mexican. So dollar Mexican, we pushed right through into this previous support level. So it doesn't look like we're stopping here. Our next stop could be probably around 1945. So around 1945, we might be seeing the market reverse to downside. But overall, this week, I do see dollar in Mexican actually coming all the way up. We might actually be touching the area of 1925 around this area. That's where we might be touching. Then maybe having a slight pullback, then continue all the way up to 1945. Now let's move over to dollar yen. So dollar yen, we are at a level of resistance. Come Monday, which is just in an hour's time, I do think we might be having a gap, probably coming back into this area. So this move we were looking at, where the market had to have a pullback, went exactly as we planned, and we are now at this level of resistance. So we might be gapping to the downside as we come into Monday, and we might be having some rejection of this area around 148 200. Is that 146? Sorry, it's 146 200. We might be having a rejection around this area, so we might even just actually have a gap and be coming even probably down here to this level. So let's keep that in mind. We might be coming down to this support level, then maybe bouncing from it. I'm not too sure, but we're yet to see what the week gives us. And then we might review this on Wednesday, but I do think we might be touching around the 44500 area as we open the week, and probably bouncing from here, then going all the way up to 148,500. That's where we're looking to come up back up to. Right, and now let's move over to euro dollar, since we have also been looking at the dollar index. So euro dollar, we finally have a break of the trend line, which is great, and we seem to be coming all the way down here to 1,400. So by the end of the week, we might actually be here around the 1,400 1.1400 area. So let's keep an eye on that for this coming week. Then let's look at CAD Swiss. CAD Swiss, you know what has been happening, has been moving sideways. So for this week, I do think we might be retesting 159, 150. It might actually gap all the way here because Swiss is a safe haven, as well as the yen and gold. So we might be gapping all the way here as we come into this week. Or even if we're not gapping for this week, we might actually just be pushing all the way to the support level, then bouncing again off that level, then maybe coming back to this 0.60 area on CAD Swiss. And let's look at pound yen. So pound yen, we're looking to also make a new high. Already had our move to the downside, pull back, then we made a new overall high, and then we dipped all the way down, and now we're looking to probably make a new high. So definitely we might be seeing ourselves up here if everything goes well, if we do not have a gap. But I do think we're going to have a gap this evening, just within the hour, because of the Iran Israel war that's going on. So we might actually be above 19700, probably there. But if we gap down, I do think we're still going to gap down into this area, which was resistance, support, back up, break, and then it kind of became a support level. So we might be dipping back into this area, then probably moving all the way back up. Then let's look at pound dollar. So pound dollar, we were in a kind of consolidation lately, and we dipped to the downside, and this seems like we're in an overall pullback. That was like a 50% pullback from this high to this low. So this was more like a 50% pullback. So we might be seeing ourselves coming down into the 1.33750 area into this coming week, as this just seemed like an overall pullback, and then we might be on our way to 1.31500 for the rest of the month. We're yet to see how this week goes, especially since we have some heavy news this week. We have PMI on Monday, and we also have Fed Powell speaking on Tuesday, and then we also have Powell speaking again on Wednesday, and then we have the final GDP and unemployment claims on Thursday. And then we also have finally the core PCE price index on Friday. So these are the three major events that we are looking Sorry, everyone. We had an intermediate error in transaction here. I see, Abdullah, you really wanted us to look at gold. That's what we're actually looking at right now. Sorry for that slight disturbance. So looking at gold, we drew this trend line on a Wednesday, and gold finally broke right through it. But the question is this going to hold? Will gold hold this break of the trend line? we are yet to see, because we had a very tight consolidation over here, and then we started pushing all the way down. Like, this is a way too perfect trend line that was drawn on Wednesday. So the question is this really going to hold? But my thoughts are that this might actually gap and finally hold. Like, we might even gap all the way to 3,400. That's where I do see the market gapping if we do gap. But if we do gap to the bottom side, then we're definitely going to be right under 3,340. So those are the two scenarios we currently have. But overall, because of the war in Iran and everything like that, we will definitely be coming back all the way up here one way or another. Up is where we're going, since we already even have a break of the trend line. So we're yet to see what happens. But those are the two scenarios. We're either going to gap all the way up to 3,400, or we're going to gap all the way to 3,340. Those are the two scenarios. Watch this space. This is what I am actually seeing for this coming week. A gap is imminent. Is, you know how these markets open sometimes. So just keep your eyes on that. These two levels, right here and right there. If we do have a gap here, we're still going up. If we do have a gap here, we're still going up either ways. So that is my anticipation on gold. So let's look now at the indices. So with NAS 100, we had our push to the downside over here, where this would have been a great entry point. We broke the trend line, and now we seem to be going all the way up here. Like, this was just an immediate pullback. Like, we touched this area, then we pulled back immediately, and we seem to be coming all the way to 22,000. So this coming week, I do see ourselves probably pushing up slightly, especially with this ongoing war, because like this push up was just all because of the Iran-Israel war news. So we might actually be pushing even further up for this coming week on NAS 100. Then let's move over finally to the crypto space. Let's start with Ethereum. So Ethereum, like I said, if you've been watching these lives each and every single week, I don't want to sound like I know everything, but either ways, I say this and I'll say it again. This was a fake out. So once this fake out happened, we came right into back into this box. We had a pullback. I said that we might actually be breaking down all the way here. And then we broke down. And then once this break is done, I said we're going to break right through this box. And that's what has happened. We have broke right through this consolidation. This is not a fake out. This is definitely going down. And where are we coming down to? 1,800. That is where I do see us coming down to, anticipating that. If things go well, definitely we're going to reach 1,800. If not, then we could just be pulling back into this middle area and then coming back up slightly. Then overall, we might reach this 1,800 area, or we could be bouncing right from this midpoint of this strong parabolic move on Ethereum and then start coming back up. Those are two scenarios. But on my bias right now is 1,800. That is where I see ourselves coming down to when it comes to Ethereum. Then when I look at Bitcoin, let us now look at Bitcoin. So with Bitcoin, same scenario. We broke right through this level. Where do you think we're going now to? And I talked about the 100,000 level. We are looking now to come down to 94,000. These are the moves that I like to see in the market. So maybe we might be bouncing off this level, maybe, just maybe, but we yet to see what the market tells us next. That is one thing you need to keep in mind. We might even just actually be bouncing off this pin bar right here. This is a high possibility that can happen. And what people think that maybe it's going to 94,000, it might not do that. We might actually bounce all the way from here and then start to go back up into this area, then linger around. Then that's when it might actually drop. So you also need to think in those lines. But overall, this is where our analysis comes to an end. And Abdullah, yes, you are most welcome. We always try our best to give the best analysis every single week. So this is where our analysis comes to an end. And don't forget to join us on Wednesday as we see everything unfold of what we've just talked about and see where this market might be going, especially for the fact that this week is packed with a lot of news and this Iran Israel altercation that is currently happening could significantly lead to more market moves and more volatility in the market. So if you also look at the volatility index, we might be seeing it spiking up. And then the moves in the market might actually start to move really good. And that's where maybe you can be a day trader. But right now, we're currently holding and we can be seeing more moves coming in future if we know what we're looking for in the market. So thank you all for joining me this evening. So if you are watching the replay, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell in case we do post something noteworthy for you this coming week. And I will be seeing you all on Wednesday.